Welcome to 10’sOn10’ Show premieres Tell You What with co-hosts Danny Collins and at the Chronicles of Money, aka Christopher Joseph Attardi. Tonight's special guest is
Luke Hildebrand, aka Lukey Ow. Search him up on Instagram. He's a gold miner, he's a logger, and he's a snowboarder. All around great guy.
But let's get it going!
All right, 9 o'clock, 10’sOn10’ Show premieres Tell You What. Just waiting for our special guest for the week to sign on. His name is Luke Hildebrand. Just a little brief background while we wait for Luke. Yo, what's up, Will? How are you? Luke is a gold miner. He's a logger. He just signed in now, so he'll be popping on in about a second. He's fucking awesome. Got some crazy stories. And some insane ups and downs that you guys can learn from with some phenomenal advice. So I'm going to sign him in right now and we'll get the show going. Yeah, boy. You ready for this? You ready?
Welcome to 10’sOn10’ Show premieres Tell You What with co-hosts Danny Collins and at the Chronicles of Money, aka Christopher Joseph Attardi. Tonight's special guest is
Luke Hildebrand, aka Lukey Ow. Search him up on Instagram. He's a gold miner, he's a logger, and he's a snowboarder. All around great guy.
But let's get it going!
You! All right. What up, Luke? How you been, bro? How's life? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Better?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Were you able to hear the intro? Because it was for you, baby.
No, I didn't hear it.
For real? It didn't cut out like that? All right. Well, play it back for you later. But just,
right.
Just for the people watching, anyone who's tuning in tonight, give us a brief description of who you are, where you were born, where you moved to, where you're from, what you do. What's up, Adi? How are you, man? And all this other cool stuff.
Pretty much, I'm Luke Hildebrand, and I'm from a little small town near the Oregon border. It's Etna, California. Born in Portland, Oregon, but, not every story's like the most happy ending. I went into the adoption program pretty early on, and so I grew up here in Etna.
So you grew up in the foster program in Anaheim? Or did you have a family that adopted you in Anaheim?
No, I was in Etna.
Okay.
But no, I probably went into the program about 5 months old and then got adopted when I was 5.
Okay, cool. So first 5 years of your life, you were in foster care essentially, and then now your adopted family. Good people, happy people. You still stick with them? Like them?
Yeah, they all moved away, so I'm the only one really left in Etna. So,
Okay.
But I grew up here pretty much my whole life.
Right on. Not bad. Yeah, dude. I met you where?
Oh, you met me in Big Bear.
Woo!
Part of the West Side Coots, right?
My guy. So I meet Luke out in Big Bear. What's up, Scotty? He's one of the coolest dudes I've ever met, to be honest. And Luke, like, just a little brief backstory for the listeners who people are tuning in throughout. Like, Luke has had some ups and downs, and Luke is here to talk about his ups and downs. Right now, he's in a high point in his life, though, right now. So we're doing real fucking well. I'm hyped on it. And if you want to touch down on some stuff, like, just let people know, like I said, you did the who you are, what you do, where you're from. So you did the when. Basically, if anybody has any questions that are watching, type them. Luke will answer them for sure if he wants to. But Luke, why don't we start off with like the lowest point in your life, or some of the lower points that kind of tie together in your life, and then more importantly, what you learned from it, and then we'll transition into the highest point in your life.
But pretty much one of the highest points in my life right now is
Start with the
one of the highest points in my life is moving to Big Bear and becoming an instructor and getting to teach kids how to ride the snow. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of something special to see that light bulb moment when somebody's struggling on something all day and you see them finally get it, and just how jacked they are on whether they're learning their heel edge, their toe edge, or learning to do S turns for the first time. It's really rewarding. I mean, you just meet all sorts of great people.
Isn't it crazy how we were all instructors?
Right?
It's crazy. And I love teaching people how to snowboard. Yo, anybody out there watching, if you're on the West Coast, hit up Luke. He'll teach you. If you're on the East Coast, hit up me. I'll teach you. All right?
Right?
You got some certified instructors here. So,
oh, yeah.
Basically, so that's one of the higher points in your life. Cool. So now you've transitioned from Big Bear after I met you, and you moved back up to Oregon?
Oh, you're starting to cut out, brother.
You moved after Big Bear back up to Oregon?
Kind of like R2D2 right now. I can't hear you.
All right, I'm going to go live again real quick. I'm going to call you back. 1st Form! Yo, go follow 1st Form athletes and shit, because 1st Form is the dopest company that I've ever represented. But that's just while we wait for Luke to hop back on, because we're having a little bit of technical. LUKIEOW, Lukey Ow, hashtag Luke Alive. My boy Luke has had some crazy gnarly stories we're about to hear soon. Let's hope this works. Can you hear me better now, I hope?
Yeah.
Awesome. No more R2D2?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right, sweet. Woo! All right, Luke, that's for you, bro. I fucking love you, man. You obviously don't have to talk about gold mining and logging and snowboarding. You can talk about whatever you want. So for everybody who's just tuned in, I appreciate you guys all chopping on. Luke is one of my favorite people in the world. Luke is somebody that we were just talking about. We met in Big Bear out in California, and he actually spent the first 5 years of his life in the foster care system, so I'm just giving everybody a brief background. Then his family all kind of moved away, and he's been pretty much on his own for a long time. So after Big Bear, Luke, that was kind of like the highest point in your life. You love teaching kids how to snowboard. We're both snowboard instructors. That's how we met. Like S-turns, all that shit is the craziest thing when you finally see somebody get it. It's amazing.
Right.
So now Big Bear, that season that we met, I think after that season you winded back going up north, right? Or was there one more season we were together?
Yeah. I mean, I bounced back and forth throughout the winters. I mean, I had about 4 winters up there teaching. I eventually moved back. And I got a login job after my 4th year, and I did that for about 8 months. But it's just
where in Oregon? Back
kind
in Oregon?
job. Huh?
This is back up in Oregon?
Yeah. Well, it's near the Oregon border. It's not quite in Oregon. It's still in California.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I ended up being a choker setter on that login job, and it was kind of it was really dangerous. And I just they have a motto, it's run in for your job and run out for your life, and I kind of got tired of that motto and found something a little better. So now I work through North Zone Fallers.
Okay.
And that's been pretty good. I brush, and I'm a chipper operator there. I got to receive my fire card, and I do brushing, and was able to receive my fire card this year, so hopefully I get to go out on fires if the opportunity arises.
That'd be awesome. Is that volunteer?
I mean, I really hope there's no fires, but
that's for the forest fires and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's wild. So basically you've gone through all the instructing at Big Bear. You're all about logging right now. Now, I don't know what a chipper does. What does a chipper do if you don't have to go out and save forest fires while you're logging and stuff?
Pretty much we get contracted out with the chipper. It's the best I can describe. It's a giant machine, and it's got a bunch of knives with a chute, and it shoots out anything you throw into it is coming out the other side as a bunch of wood chips.
Okay, so that's what a chipper is. But like that's when people don't understand, because we come from a small town, that's like cutting down a tree and calling the town to throw one tree in. This kid does forests of it, like mountain side forests, right?
Numerous properties, whoever we get contracted out into. I mean, it can be on U.S. Forest Service ground if they need to, but It's
Right
just
on.
fuel reduction is what it is.
Wild, wild. And then the last time I talked to you before we actually did this show, you said you got inherited a gold mine or something like that. You were going gold mining.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think that's so. I
growing
think
up
that's
around here, there's
really.
and just all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, my dad and I used to run a gold mine for the last several years, but he's kind of got up there in age and he passed it on down to me. So
That's
now I work it. It's definitely not going to get you rich. I mean, it can if you get lucky, but
oh yeah. So what? Passion is purpose, baby. That's that video you sent me of you just finding those little gold nuggets. I mean, that's cool enough for me, man. I mean, for an everyday person who does it, it's got to be a little bit different. But like, if I came out to Oregon, I should say, and you took me gold mining for a day, I'm sure as hell I
oh
feel
yeah,
like a
you
kid
find
with a
gold
candy
for
shop,
sure.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Wild,
you
wild.
definitely find gold.
So going through all your trials and tribulations, like that's the high point of your life, right? So now you've learned a few things. If you want to talk about some low points in your life, so we could give the audience kind of like a backstory of where you've come from, because all they've heard so far is you grew up in like the first 5 years in foster care, and then
Yeah.
you just lived the dream basically. So what happened in between, if you don't mind me asking? And then we'll give them
In
some advice.
between, shoot. Well,
Luke lives in
there's a
Oregon,
little
if
bit
that
of
makes sense.
infamy coming from Scott Valley. I mean, you lose quite a bit of friends along the way. It's just the real roads out here are kind of nasty and
Yeah.
just it's just different things. So basically, in between being adopted and growing up, I mean, it's especially the first time looking up a lot at all the things that you never get to see out here, and it just
Like these?
people are different in
Like these?
aspects of I don't know. Around here, everybody waves, but I mean that's not fine when you go to the city quite a bit.
Yeah.
But a couple, pretty much, I don't know. I haven't had my own set bed like till lately. I mean, I've always been kind of couch hopping. I have really great friends, you know.
That's always nice. It's good to have a good friend structure, bro, because you're such a nice guy. I mean, how could you not want to be friends with Luke Hildebrand? Like, you're literally the sweetest, most kind-hearted person in the world. Dude, like, from the moment I met you, we started vibing. I was just like, yo, what up? This kid is just like me, bro. Like, you're a dope person. So, even though you've been couch
No,
surfing,
you are too, man. I appreciate that.
so, wait, what'd you say?
Oh, in between couch surfing and just shoot, there's quite a bit, but
I'm sure there's
in
some
between
low
that
lows.
stretch, what was that?
I said, I'm sure while couch surfing, you got to feel
I
some
can't really hear you.
better.
Yeah, I can hear you, nigga.
Hello, Governor. We're back in action. Hey,
All right.
so just to keep touching a little bit, you were talking about yourself when you were saying you were couch surfing a little bit. You haven't really had a bed up until recently. Yeah, so
Oh shoot! I actually couch surfed quite a bit in Bear,
that's what
but
Big Bear is known for, baby.
I mean, there's quite a bit of low points and different stuff along the way, but can't really talk about them all just yet. But
That's fine. That's fine.
a few of the high points, though, I really want to talk about is just pretty much being up in Bear and being with Nikita and you and the whole crew and
Yo,
just having a good old fun time.
Right? That was, yo,
Right?
West Side Kooks, baby. West Side Kooks. Get me.
Right? You cut out, or did I? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm right here. Oh, geez. Oh, I was just saying, I mean, Big Bear wasn't always like the best of times. I mean, it my first year up there, I was still with my ex, and again, I didn't have my own bed. I was sleeping on a coffee table, and I'm 6'1", so oh shit. Can I say that? Do you want me to run down to the bar and finish the story?
Nah, you're good. It's just honestly, it's just because you're all the way up there in the mountains, bro. I could only imagine, even with Wi-Fi, like it's got to be hard to get through all those mountains and valleys. Every mountain, every valley, every mountain, every valley.
R2D2 again, man.
It's all good. They said they could hear you, but they can't hear me. Guys, for anyone watching, Luke is literally up in the mountains. He's got like no Wi-Fi. He's trying to get it. We got a connection that we're going back and forth. I'll edit the episode for Sunday.
Welcome to 10’sOn10 Show premieres Tell You What with co-host Danny Collins
not here
and
tonight,
at
guys.
the
He's got
Chronicles
school.
of Money,
That's
a.k.a.
me.
Christopher Joseph Attardi. Tonight's
try this
special
again.
guest is Luke Hildebrand, a.k.a. Lukey Ow. Search him up on Instagram. He's a gold miner, he's a logger, and he's a snowboarder. All-around great guy. Let's get it going!
About to try this again, guys. All right. So, for anybody who's just tuning in and had a little bad service before, Luke just drove himself all the way down to the bar that had hella Wi-Fi, so it's better connection. So let's see what goes down. Hopefully it works. But yeah, I'll give you a brief backstory for him as soon as he logs on, and we'll take it from there. There he is. Connection better?
Yeah.
Much better. Awesome. Let's just get your face on camera and we're good to go. All right, so I'm just, for everybody tuning in right now, because everybody kind of had a bad connection before too. So basically what we learned about Luke is me and Luke met in Big Bear a long time ago as snowboard instructors. That's literally passion is purpose for the two of us. We love snowboarding more than anything else in the world probably. It puts a big smile on our face. That's how we met. So for who asked whoever how we met before, that's the answer to that question. Luke, when he was a baby, he was put into the adoption program at the age of, I guess, 5 months old, you said, and you weren't adopted until you were 5 years old. From there, Luke had then grown up with his family, but his family all winded up moving away, and that's what brought Luke out to Big Bear, I presume, correct? And yes. And then that was kind of like when we met. And then after a few seasons out in Big Bear, just shredding hard, making great friends out there, because that's just what California is all about, bro. Like, basically, Luke decided to go back up north. He moved to Oregon. Well, not Oregon itself. It's the border just of California and Oregon, where he was a logger, which, like, I don't know if you guys know what logging is, but you need to look that up because it's crazy. He then got into being, I guess, a promotion to a chipper, which is wild, and then he got his fire card. So hopefully he doesn't have to this year fight any California forest fires, but if he does, this guy right here, he's got his fucking cards to do so. That's legit. That's badass shit right there, bro. I know I'm not all for the police. I respect the police, but I'm not all for it. But I'm all for motherfucking firefighters. You're a fucking awesome person. In my eyes, firefighters save lives on the daily. You know what I mean? Like, that's all you guys do. So basically, the last thing that we left off for R2D2ing was you're talking about basically how you were couch surfing through Big Bear, trying to find your way because, you know, you're on your own. Like, you're out of the adoption system, your regular adopted family moves away, now you're back on your own. And, you know, you're couch surfing, you got a great group of friends, which is fucking sick. That's good to know. You got a good support structure to fall back on. And then after Big Bear, you moved up north. You were talking about the last your chick.
Sorry about that.
You're good. You're at the bar. You have to drive down there for the Wi-Fi. It's all good, baby. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Make the show that much better.
Yeah.
So basically, the last thing you were talking about was being 6'1", sleeping on a coffee table. So that was the last thing that we heard before you migrated.
Yeah, it wasn't just a coffee table. I mean, I'm like 6'1", so my feet hung off the end. So I had this little milk crate with a pillow on it.
Tilt your camera up a little. Get your face on. There you go.
What was that?
Tilt your camera up a little. Put your face on the screen all the way.
Oh. Might have to rest it on an ashtray or something. I'll rest it against this beer.
Perfect.
All
All right, cool. So not just a coffee table. You're basically just sleeping anywhere because that shit's not comfortable. But you're making do. You're still pushing forward. You're persevering, right?
Sorry, somebody came up and tried to talk to me. What was that?
Nah, that's all good. You're a popular dude, bro. Get it, get it. Was she hot?
Small town. I graduated in a class of 40. It's a pretty small town.
Really? Girl
Yeah.
or guy?
Yeah.
And if it was a girl, was she pretty? I'm messing with you, dog. So what else from there?
What else from Bear? Shoot. I mean,
No. What else from there? From that moment on. So not just the coffee table, everything else.
oh, after that coffee table moment, it was kind of like, I mean, I've still only had one girlfriend, like, ever. So I was
Really?
dating. Yeah, I was dating her
Bro,
at the
you're right,
time.
though. Anybody out there, we got to get Luke a girl. He will literally, I promise.
I'm good, man.
One guy I know. Continue. So,
But,
so this is your
no, I
one
was
girl you
dating
had
her
for
at
a
the
while.
time. I was dating her at the time, and I was kind of, well, you know, Big Bear. I mean, I was partying pretty hard and having a good old time, and me and her, we had kind of two different lifestyles because I grew up around here and kind of knew the value of a dollar, and let's just say she was pretty well off and was from down in LA area, and
Value of
we just
dollars.
didn't mesh too well, and I walked away from it. And that was probably about like one of the lowest points I've had because, well, for one, I thought I wasn't good enough for her, and
Really?
that's one thing
Really?
you can never.
That's why
Yeah,
you
there's one
walked
thing you
away?
can
You
never.
walked away because you thought you weren't good enough for her?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. We never argued or anything, and I mean, it's just
Hey, do you see
it's
the
something I want to relay back to you guys. Never, huh?
you see the astonishment on my face? You're good enough for a fucking Playboy playmate, bro. Like, yo, you're Luke Hildebrand. Get that shit straight. Look in the fucking mirror. You're a motherfucking rock star, bro, in my book.
Yeah,
You're a rock star
that's
in my
one thing I
book.
want to relay
You
back.
better
Is
be a
never,
rock star in your book.
never think you're not good enough for someone or anybody. You're always gonna be good enough. You know, it's just finding the right person.
I know. I
You know?
always get mad insecure sometimes too after meeting the right. You know, it's crazy. You meet the right person, and that's when you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah,
Weird. It's
yeah.
weird. But anywho, so
But
you
since
walked away
then,
from this. So
yeah. I mean, one of the big regrets I have is not walking away. It's just like her not knowing why. But she met another guy shortly after, and they're happy, and so I'm stoked for her. You know.
well,
I mean,
I'm kind of in the same position as you. I mean, I feel you. I feel you. I'm glad you're happy for it because it's the only way to be, and that just shows so
well,
much
yeah,
about
you can't dwell
character.
on it. I mean, I dwelled on it for quite a few years, and I mean, you know, it's what are you gonna do? You know, just move
Yeah, but
on.
that's so cool because, like, between different guests on the show, like, everybody's handled it differently. Some people tell the same story, and, like, I just love the way you handle it. Like, I mean, I know you were the one who thought that you weren't good enough, but,
I
like,
mean, I
look at how
can't say I
positive
didn't
you
handle
were.
it bad. Like, I mean, I started drinking quite a bit. Like, just I don't know about a stress and
While you
just
were
like
together,
not knowing and just
you were
wanting
drinking
to.
while you guys were together or afterwards to try and cope a little bit.
Oh, I was drinking while we were together quite a bit, but then it just kind of progressed like into
All
an
right, so I can
unhealthy
kind of
drinking
understand
habit.
why you felt like you weren't good enough. You're at a low point somewhere mentally, but like, yo, you're always good enough. Just understand that. I fucking love you. All right, so now that you've moved on a little bit, and what'd you learn from that? Like on the real, what'd that teach you? Because that sounds like it puts you in a place where you know you haven't been before. Because you said it's your first girlfriend, first love, you know, the only one you've ever had. So after actually walking away from a relationship like that, where'd that leave you mentally, and what'd you learn from it?
Oh, I was pretty depressed there for a while and just
Naturally,
frustrated, mad at myself, mad at the world. Not mad at her though, you know. I mean, it was me. I walked away, you know.
bro, my
But
ex still hates me, and I'm still not mad at her. Like she had every right to do whatever she wanted to do. It was her life. I'm just hoping, you know, that was my soulmate, dog. So like one day maybe we'll meet again, but until then, it is what it is. And I feel like the way you're treating it's the same for you.
Yeah, and since that day, it's like kind of like was the defining moment. I mean, that was the same year I learned how to do S turns and backflips in the same year, and so it was just like it was a eureka moment for me almost to just
Hold on. For anybody
never.
watching S turns and backflips, he's talking about snowboarders. He's talking about linking his turns. And in that same year he learned how to link turns, he was doing backflips off jumps. Do you know how absurd and unheard of that is for any snowboarder in the world, like to learn how to turn and then within the same season backflip? It was gnarly. I was there
It
for
was
it.
about a week after like we broke up, I started flipping, but it was kind of a eureka moment, like to just I don't know, don't take time for granted because it's one thing you're never gonna get back, and it's kind of a motto I live by. It's try to have as much fun in your life as you can while you can, because
Bro, right?
again, time is never guaranteed. So
Literally. You and your
basically, send it,
hashtag, your biggest hashtag is hashtag Luke Alive, right? What happened
right?
to you and I have kind of had similar like literal death experiences. So like why do you hashtag almost all your photos hashtag Luke Alive? What happened to you that you have that view on life right now? Because I have that same view on life right now, and most people don't understand. They don't understand like, yo, I've already been dead. I already like experienced what you're petrified of. And moving forward, all I want to do is live this fucking life to the fullest because it can be taken like that, bro. So
Yeah.
explain to people a little bit what happened to you and your injury and how it happened and what you've been doing to push forward. Because that shit was fucking gnarly, bro. I remember that.
Are you talking about my skate injury or?
Yeah, I think so. That was when you hit your head real bad.
Yeah, it was, I still struggle with it. I think it's either 2 or 3 years ago now that it happened. But yeah, basically I was doing little speed runs on my skateboard and I looped out. I don't remember going down. I just remember kind of putting my shoes back on in the middle of the road. And then one of the guys in my skate group, his mom's a neurologist, and I fell asleep for 4 hours because nobody could get me in the car to go to the hospital because I was ornery. I was going to be too expensive, and I don't know. My folks, give you a little background on them. They're Mormon, super kind people, and so it was hard for them to see me cussing up a storm and trying to get me in a car. So they gave my buddy a ring, and he came over and shoved me in his truck and drove me over. And that
Really?
was after I was sleeping for 4 hours on a brain bleed, and I bruised the front of my brain.
So your brain was
I
bleeding.
had
That's what you said?
what?
Your brain was bleeding and you bruised the front of it?
Yeah, I had a brain bleed about the size of a quarter on the back of my head, and then I bruised the front of my brain, and I don't know. I mean, some people may say it's kind of cool, but it's just like I forgot a lot of the movies and like I've ever watched, and some of the
Yeah,
people
me
I
too.
grew up with. And
Dude, I got two gnarly stories, not like that, but like my brother's best friend growing up, he literally one night stepped on a longboard, fell back, hit his head. Sadly, like we pray for him every day, and he's still in a coma. So like hashtag Luke alive, you're lucky to be alive. And
yeah,
then like stuff like that too. It's just it's really next level because like people do die doing stuff like that that they do every day on a normal basis with no problem. So it's just like
oh
I'm really
yeah,
happy to still here. That's for shit sure. With the
yeah.
brain,
I was
that's gnarly. I'm sorry you're forgetting things. I have a buddy, Greg. Greg, if you're watching this, you get a chance to watch this. My buddy Greg, he actually went out to school in Texas, and he, I don't know, the story's public, so I hope he's okay with me telling this because it's a pretty gnarly story. But these two fucking kids tried to kill him, bro, and they bashed the fucking back of his head open, and it was gross. Like the pictures that were online were nasty, and he called me one day and he was like, dude, I just woke up from a coma. He was like, you're one of the only people I remember. And he told me the whole story, so I had to Google it right away and look it up. And like, he was going to college out in Texas, and it sure as shit was right there on the headlines. There was his face split open. Like, bro, there was. So these two kids got caught. I guess they like ran away and left their roommate with like Greg there, like dying. And the cops came when the kid was coming back from the store with chlorine and shit to clean all the blood off the walls with. And thank God they saved his life. But like, bro, Like,
Yeah.
your brain bleed and not being able to remember movies that you've seen. Greg literally called me. He was like, "Well, you're one of the only people I even remember growing up with." So, like, that's gnarly. And then my mother thinks I got early onset Alzheimer's from all the fucking times I've hit my head snowboarding in car accidents. Like,
Yeah.
we gotta take better care of our bodies. Not gonna lie, but I'm just
No,
glad.
yeah, I definitely got to start wearing a helmet. I mean, they told me like if I hit my head again like that, I'll
You'll die.
probably either like not. Basically, the way they put it, I won't be able to balance the check, or I'll die.
So wear a
And
fucking. You never
the
broke
lady
your
who
neck,
told me
right?
that, huh?
You never broke your neck, right? So the helmet's not gonna weigh down your neck and snap it. You got strong neck muscles.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
should. All right, so I got a question here from one of my followers, Jackie Kowal. She wants to know: is there anything that you want to do still that you have not done yet? Like what's on
Uh,
your bucket list, or what's at the top of your bucket list?
Shoot. I met a couple guys when I was in Bear, and they're skydive instructors, and this whole COVID thing kind of ruined a lot of my birthday plans.
Bro, me too. I
Uh,
tried to skydiving Bear too. That was my birthday plan this year. That's why I sucked. I had to go
yeah,
to Florida, but I was supposed to be skydiving Big Bear. That's your bucket list
yeah.
at the top.
It's up there, but I want to be able to solo jump, and then the main thing on my bucket list so far, I want to be able to skydive and snowboard in the
That's it.
Swiss Alps in the same day. I think that would be
Bro,
so
hold on,
cool.
hold on. I'm gonna grab something for you right now because my brother and I just booked a trip to Switzerland so that we could do that. Here's the fucking paperwork right here.
I still haven't even jumped on it, bro. I got to get my passport and all that.
Yo, get
But
on it. Get on it. Make it happen. Yo, if you can speak about it, be about it, dog. And I'm telling
no,
you, by
yeah.
the time you get your passport, if you want to do it, I'm coming with you.
All right.
My uncle lives out there, so we don't gotta pay for any hotel or any shit like that, which is dope. He lives out in Zurich. So
I got to get my solo jump certificate though first.
yeah, well, you got to do enough tandem jumps first. So let's start jumping and see what happens, bro. How many do you know in Oregon? How many tandem jumps you have to do, or in California, how many tandem jumps you have to do before you can get your solo license?
Uh,
What's up?
there's the guys that I was telling you about before we started this. He they're instructors, and they say for $1,200 I do 3 jumps in a day, 2
Okay.
tandem and 1 solo assisted, and after that I could jump as many times on my own. You
Wait,
know,
so $1,200 and you're pretty much a pro skydiver almost on your own. Not pro, but like you can go by
not
yourself.
pro, but you can jump out of a plane at your own consent.
Not bad, bro. I'm going across the country getting that license with you, and then we're just gonna go have some fun, homie. You guys want some internet clout? Go fucking skydiving on the regular. Gang,
Uh,
gang, following will go shoot.
I know it's just like
What up, Dallas?
riding on a snowboard and powder is pretty much like floating on a cloud, is what I think. And so
Is it?
jump out and
This is
ride
my
one for
baby.
real,
This is
dude.
my baby. This is my baby. Her and I make love. This guy's got, with all my broken legs, he's just sawing feet off, you know, like, this is just my baby, bro. Like, snowboarding on powder, though, where you're from in the Pacific Northwest, how fucking incredible is that, bro? You can just go, you guys still have snow right now?
It actually snowed like 2, 3 days ago. It stuck a little bit up top, but there's nothing really to ride unless you hike way back in there.
So fucking hype way back in there. What am I doing in New York, dog? Oh my god. I need some backcountry in my life. Oh, or some
I
street.
mean, I've got a buddy named Tanner Schaefer, and he was riding with my other buddy, Kanan Kruger. They hiked the top of Mount Shasta. Have you heard of Mount
Yeah,
Shasta?
Mount Shasta is fucking gnarly, bro. Some of those
Yeah.
videos are insane. They hiked up
Well,
there.
they summited and they rode from the top back down.
That's sick. I got a
So,
couple buddies. We got a snowstorm like last month for like 6 inches, and up at Hunter, it's like some upstate New York mountain. All my buddies were hiking it all day long. Then they camped at the top just for like the 2, 3 days they knew the snow was going to be there. So they get 1, 2, 3 runs, maybe tops a day, to get down to the bottom and hike the top. They're in quarantine. It was sick because they set up a whole campsite with fires and grills and everything. Like,
that sounds like a blast.
I'm stuck in Florida. Otherwise, I would have been there. That shit looks so sick. What up, Christine?
Uh,
How are you? Not bad. So if any of you guys have any questions for Luke, like feel free to ask. Luke, I don't know if you can read the comments, but if not, I'll read them as they come in as questions. But if you're just joining us, Luke's from the border of northern to Port California. I met him in Big Bear snowboarding as instructors together. He's a wood logger. He also is a gold miner. He's all around genuine, like fucking dope ass friend. He's single as shit, ladies, and he's good looking and loyal as fuck. So if you live in the area, shoot him a fucking DM. At LUKIEOW is his fucking hashtag thing or tag for Instagram. So
I've got a bunch of different accounts, but I always forget my password, so it's just.
hey, that's life. So basically, what's the gnarliest story you got, and more importantly, like what's the best advice you could give our audience? Christina says I'm pimping you out. She just got done with work. Christina, for your information, my gorgeous young friend here, who is a fucking all-star, has only had one girlfriend in his entire life. And he chose to walk into that relationship because he felt like he couldn't offer her enough. And I have been in that position, and this kid can offer her more than anything. So that's just why I'm doing that. Because, like, anybody in that area, like, yo, hit my boy up because he's the man. Again, it's LUKIEOW with an @ logo before it. Slide in the DM.
I appreciate it, man.
For sure, dog. You're my man. I fucking love you. And by the way, it was just his birthday like a month ago. Or, like, just like, when did you turn? What was your birthday?
It was April 22nd, but I mean,
happy belated. I love
I just hung out down here at the bar is all.
The bar? Are you in quarantine right now over there? What's the life like up there? Because we're in fucking lockdown still.
Not really. I mean, I've worked every day since. The only thing I couldn't do, I mean, they shut down skydiving, and so I couldn't do that. So that's the only way I've really been affected.
But the bars are open? Like, you could go in?
To a degree, I mean, takeout only.
That's
but,
that's all good.
I mean,
it says happy belated birthday.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and then that's fucking sick, dude. I just want to live up there, man.
Yeah, 26 has been weird, man.
Yo, fact, it just gets weirder as you get older, trust me. 30 is fucking the weirdest it's ever been, I'll tell you. I thought Dirty 30 this year was going to be dope. I was stuck in Florida by myself in quarantine. Thank God for my family, though. They set up this gnarly Zoom call with everybody, so, like, that was cool. There was, like 40, 50 people on it. I felt really special for, like, the first time in 10 years. It's all good, though. Oh, man. So,
basically,
what up?
Yeah, you asked me if I could leave you guys with any advice before I go, and it's just basically, like I said before, never take anything for granted. I mean, you can't get time back once it's lost, and just I'll leave you guys with a little.
Says this. Just keep. I know you're thinking in your head. Just keep pushing forward, and you're thinking of all the shit you've overcome and how much more you're looking to accomplish. That's what that smile says right there, bro. That's what that smile
I appreciate
says.
it, man. I'll just leave you guys with it's my old. It was my senior quote. I had to kind of sneak it in there.
Okay, what was
and,
it?
The greatest invention of mankind is beer. Oh, I grant you, the wheel was also a fine invention, but you know damn well it doesn't go as nearly as well with pizza.
Yo, that's the greatest advice we could ever have. Matt Wessel just joined. What up, dude? Yo, so in that case, I wish this water was a beer. We'll go get one. If you want, since you're at the bar, you can definitely sign off.
Well, that's what my phone's leaning against right now.
You're good to go. Yo, for anybody watching, just so you know, because Luke had bad connection up in his crib, he drove all the way down to the bar just to finish this show. That's how dedicated he was for you guys to fucking be watching, which is dope. They got Wi-Fi there. It's all free, so happy belated birthday, Luke. I fucking love you, man. I'm going to have you on the show later on. Yeah, dude, hell yeah. I'm going to have you on the show later on. You can enlighten us a little bit more once this gains some more traction, but thanks for being guest number 2, special guest number 2. And
yeah, I got a long story, but there's a lot of time to tell it. So I hope you guys all have a great day. And
you got a gnarly story you want to tell before you sign off, or you rather go drink a beer real quick? Because you could tell one hell of a gnarly story if you want.
There's so many. I mean,
pick one.
I mean, between getting in it with Mexico and just.
All right, that's the one I want to hear right there. Let's hear it. Go.
Getting into it with Mike Metzger, I mean.
All right, so that's crazy because my last special guest, Johnny Evanol, is best friends with Mike Metzger. and he took me to Mike Metzger's tattoo shop. So I moved in with the Metal Militia guys. Mike Metzger takes his kids up to Big Bear to learn how to snowboard all the time. So I assume that's where you got into it with him, right?
Yeah, it was up in Bear.
Okay, now guys, anybody watching, Mike Metzger is a pro freestyle motocross rider, pioneer of the sport, and he's fighting with Luke. All right, go. This is a great fucking story. What do we got? What do we got?
I mean, what's the sort of like a caution or
No. This is live, raw, and uncut. You could say fuck, you could say shit, you can do whatever you want.
All right, so pretty much we met out at the bar. He's kind of a local up there in Bear, and
yeah, because he goes in the summer too.
we
right?
Huh?
I said yeah, because he goes in the summer too for mountain biking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And we met out at the bar, and I was pretty tuned up on whiskey and a bunch of other party favors, but pretty much we ended up going back to my buddy's house, and he was just belligerent and being super disrespectful, and I was kind of a little younger and a bit of a hothead, and we both stepped out back, and he ended up punching me in the face, and then we started rolling around in the snow. And
told me you got punched in the face by Mike Metzger.
Yeah.
Mike Metzger.
And then we ended up rolling around in the snow, and we got separated, and then he took off throughout the front door down the street, and I went and chased him down and tackled him. We started wrestling around again, and it was just kind of a bad deal. I mean, there's more to it, but
tell me more.
All right. So I was told to go get him because he ended up not paying for, well, some party favors, and so I took off out the front door after him and tackled him, and ended up, I had to hear the rest of it the next day because I was blacked out at that point. But they said I ended up dragging him through the snow back into the house, and he paid for his party favors, and my buddy gave him a ride home.
Go follow Monster, guys. That's a great fucking story. Oh my God, Luke, that's amazing. Like the first time I met Metzger was at his tattoo shop, but if I could have gotten punched in the face by him instead, that's a gnarly story to tell. I'm glad you just left my audience with that.
Yeah, well,
if you don't know who Mike Metzger is, he is literally one of the pioneers of freestyle motocross. His whole family is like epic extreme sport athletes, and he does tattoos. Go give him a follow. He's a dope dude. He's just, over the top like any extreme sport athlete is. So, I mean, that's honestly one of the coolest stories I've ever heard in my life. You've never told me that, so I'm hyped you just ended it on that, bro. That's
and it's not one of my proudest moments.
Okay. I mean, it's. I understand, like, all right, party fans, but still, if you were able to go hands down after you punch you square in the face and get the now you don't do that shit anymore, right? You've got your whole life back together. That's in the past.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so you're good. So
it's just being young and
you just look back on that as a dope ass fucking story for your memoir when you're ready to write it. Like that's all. That shit's fucking gnarly. How many people could say that they got punched in the face by pro freestyle motocross rider and then brought them all the way back inside to make the shit he stole from them?
I mean, probably quite a few people can.
Honestly, it's funny you say that because my boy Johnny was on here last Wednesday. If you look at the episode, he was going down the list. So you're right. You're fucking right. But you know what? That's what makes those guys so much gnarlier than us as snowboarders because, like, think about it, bro. Yeah. We could hit a 60, 70-foot kicker on compact snow and do like a 7-foot.
They do it on dirt.
They do it on dirt and over cement going on, like, mechanical fucking bikes that weigh hundreds of pounds. Like, that's some gnarly shit. Like, so
asphalt and dirt don't really forgive.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. What up, Dennis? What's up, everybody else joining? D-Rock's in. So, guys, this is going to be the end of the episode. Luke left us with some pretty dope fucking advice. He drove all the way down to the bar to get the Wi-Fi cooking on the phone because the connection was shitty before. I think we got a really good episode in after that, so I'm going to piece it together for Sunday's full drop. Cut out all the R2-D2 fucking Star Wars nonsense.
Oh, shit.
And then I'm definitely going to have you back on the show later on down the line so you can tell some more gnarly stories. Because, like I said, that's just one. I know there is so many more. The shit that I've heard when we were living up in Big Bear, like, I want you to.
I've got a couple, man.
But, I mean, if you want to tell another one, feel free. But I know you're by the bar, so I don't want to keep you too long.
My beer's starting to go flat.
I feel you, dog. So cheers in that case. I love you.
I mean, my phone stand. Just kidding.
Yo, well, in that case, any of the girls watching, slide into his DMs. He's sexy as fuck up there. In the meantime, you better get your turns, earn your turns, keep doing your thing because you're fucking awesome. And honestly,
I gotta get you out here one of these days, man.
Bro, I got flight credits right now after all the flights I canceled coming home from Florida. So let's go whenever. I'm down. Like literally, if they let me travel to Oregon or the Florida, where do I fly into? Reno?
Medford.
Medford, Oregon, or
It's like 3 hours away from me.
Is it in Oregon or California?
That's in Oregon.
All right, like I'm all about.
I'm like 45 minutes from the border, doing like a half hour.
All right, and you pick.
Depends on how fast you drive.
So let's get it. Like I'll literally come in the next 2 weeks. You guys will see the next episode of this show filmed from Luke's house up in Oregon by the bar. I'm gonna be hitting up with someone from New York from the bar by Luke. And you know me, if I speak about it, I'm all about it. So let's make this shit happen, son, if you're serious.
All right, man. Take care.
I love you, Luke. Thanks for coming on. Special guest number 2. You're awesome. Have a great rest of your day. Happy belated birthday. And everybody, if you have, before he signs off, does anybody have any questions for Luke? Like any honest questions that they wanted to answer? Because you guys have been awesome with the question asking so far tonight, even with all the bullshit. Derek, what do you got? I know you got a question for Luke. What's up? He said, hell yeah, that was dope. So what the fuck?
Appreciate it.
That's a fucking shit-ass question. That's a statement, homie. What's next? Ask me a question. What bar are you at? That's the best fucking question he could have asked.
I'm at Paystreak right now. It's located right in central Etna, California.
There you go. Perfect. Nice. Well, in that case, you go enjoy the rest of your night, man. I love you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for coming on.
Love you too, brother. Thanks for having me on.
I'm going to give you a call right after this.
Alrighty.
All right. Much love.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Let's get it going!